Good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be in the world. I'm Sarah Jane, your hostess, and yes, it's morning here in the UK, because that's where I am, and our guest is in New Zealand, and it's actually well and truly into the evening with Beverley, because it's 8:30 in the evening with her, so 7:30 here in the morning, and I'm delighted to welcome Beverley, who's here with us today, and she's going to be sharing sound and sacred geometry as a healing tool. But first and foremost, I would love to introduce Beverley to you. Beverley Iffla. Now, is it said Iffla?
It is, yes.
Oh, good. Sorry, I forgot to ask that question. Beverley Iffla is a master sound healer, activator of the sacred starlight temples, Reiki master and Bowen therapist. Bev started exploring the world of energy as a child and had a huge awakening in 1992 after being initiated into Reiki. In 1997, Bev started working with crystal bowls, combining them with her channeled sounds from the ancient elders of Inner Earth to bring about deep soul healing. Bev facilitates several programs for personal and spiritual development. These include Shekina, a 9-month intensive program, dream making retreat, 7 days on a transformational hero's journey, and a 1 day of tree wisdom, learning to communicate with trees. Bev, welcome to the program, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Sarah. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. Bev, I'd like you to start, please, by sharing a little of your story. Obviously, from your bio, we've just heard that you had a huge awakening with Reiki. And I'm also intrigued by this channeled sounds from the ancient elders of Inner Earth. So maybe we'll come to those as well. But can you share just a little of your story, please?
Yes, I lived in a very small community in Western Australia, and I learnt how to do Bowen therapy because we lived a long way from anywhere. And I read that Bowen and Reiki went together. So, and it was just like a few weeks, and there was a Reiki course just up the road. Well, doing the Reiki course sparked something in my heart. It was like this absolute switch was turned, and my journey just expanded. As I said, we lived out in the middle of absolutely nowhere, but everything I needed turned it up at my door. It was like it was preordained that I better wake up, because I was busy being a gardener and a farmer's wife, and just very ordinary woman, playing netball, doing, just being a mum and a wife. And once I had done Reiki, I was then open to many other things like kinesiology, and finding, like having a kinesiology session and finding that actually my life wasn't that perfect. I'd been so good at shoving everything down and getting up in the morning, pretending everything was okay, that I started then actually coming into the fact that, my life wasn't that flash. I was just pretending. I had a husband that was quite, he's energetically violent. He didn't beat me, but his anger was overpowering of everybody in the house, and it affected us deeply. But we just got up and got on with it. So having that awakening was like, oh yes, there is something more to life than just living as I was. Then there was this art of channeling course. I thought, oh, good, that'd be nice. I'd like to learn how to channel. I'll go off and do that. And it was when I discovered the crystal bowls, and that the crystal bowls actually took you into a really deep space because it bypasses the conscious mind. You know, there's nothing with sound, there's nothing you can figure out. It's not like it's got lyrics or anything. So it goes directly into those places in your body where you hold blockages. And I can tell you my body was fairly blocked up. And not just in this life, you know, whether you believe in past lives or not. I remember my grandmother telling me, going to me, "Oh, Bev, you're going a little far now talking about past lives." And I went to her, "Well, Nan, you know, I remember you holding babies going, 'Oh, you're an old soul, you've been here before.'" And I went, "Well, where do you think that comes from, Nan?" Yeah, so a lot of my clearing was in this life, but also other lives, because the Art of Channeling course was nothing about channeling really. It was about clearing my own emotional baggage so that I could become a clear channel. Because, you know, everything, if we're going to channel, everything comes through our filters. So for me to be the best healer I possibly could, my way of doing that was to do my own clearing work and to then be able to help other people do their clearing.
Oh, absolutely. I loved hearing you say that it's about self first, because every single one of us, it has to be about self first. It's how I started. What can I find? What can I do to help me? Because you can't do anything for others, and you can't find those that you're here to help, and they can't find you until you work on yourself. So you've just made me a very happy bunny.
Yes, well, I've had 25 years experience of working and looking at what's going on for me. You know, my belief system wasn't nothing like it is now. You know, I've had to move a lot of stuff to be able to change my perception of the world. Before it was quite, it was a challenge to be here. You know, I didn't know that I could create my own reality. And I know that's like a cliche that everybody talks about. But when you're still loaded with all of that negative thought process, that is what you create in the world.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing that's going to come at you, and it's the thing you're going to see the most.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm loving this bit of the conversation. I really am, because I think you and I are so on the same wavelength. But this program is definitely about sound and sacred geometry. So, folks, please connect with Bev. We'll give you some details to do that afterwards. But you know, sort of, especially if what you're hearing is resonating in that respect, because I know it resonates with me, because it's been part of my path in my own way as well. But this isn't about our paths, it's about gifts that my guests bring. And so, Bev, sacred geometry, I'm sure lots of people, I keep hearing about this, but what is it?
Okay, well, there's a few varieties of sacred geometry around. There's the Melchizedek sacred geometry, which has been around for quite some time. There's the template ceremonies, and somebody in England started those. I can't remember her name offhand, but they are like these beautiful productions of sacred geometry, which help change consciousness, is how I see it. But the variety that I do is the Fulcrum Point Sacred Geometry Healing Program. I discovered that when it was at first, I think it was almost at its conception. She'd only written the first program. The second program was still waiting, or the second module hadn't been birthed at that stage. And the first the first program consists of 13 different templates. Now, these templates create different
Oh, we're having problems. We're losing you.
Have we?
We've got you, but you keep freezing. So you're talking about templates, and I'm wondering whether we're getting delays now, because, as I said, folks, we're in the UK and we're in New Zealand. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Angels, please, your support. Can we have Bev back, please?
Am I back now?
You are. Good.
Oh, good. Yes. Okay, so I was talking about the templates. Now I'm just going to turn the light off that keeps oh, it's not. Oh, yes, it is. You don't want that one shining on the template. This is one of my most favourite temples, which is the Homecoming Temple. So, you know, there's times when, well, for most of us, especially my age and your age, that when we were born in hospitals. And, you know, it wasn't really that welcoming. You know, they tipped you upside down, smacked you on the bum, took you away from your mother, put you in the cot, and maybe mum would see you at the first time they needed to feed you. Now, that's no way for this divine baby to be welcomed onto the earth. You know, that's like, for me, that goes against everything. It's like they've been inside the mother for 9 months. All the baby knows is the beat of the mother. They know the sound of her voice because it vibrates through the body. And then we're just ripped away. Well, this temple reconnects people, reconnects them back into their body and back to the earth. One of the things that I find, if you don't mind, I might just I'll put that down. I find is that especially with us healers or those that work in energy, we spend a lot of time out there. You know, like you're always looking for the answer somewhere else. So what I discovered by using this temple for myself is that I now look for my answers here. I still do. Hey, come on, you guys, sort this out for me. I'm not, but I don't go directly up to find the answers. I want to bring spirit and all of myself all the way in. It just feels important that as healers and those of us that are on our journey, that we be really solid and present so that we can get our message out there to others. You know, when I first started this, you know, we were Fruit Loops and weirdos and, you know, all of the rest. But it's we're becoming the new normal. You know, we've been marginalised for a long time. But because things are changing so much, we are becoming more ordinary, I guess. But if we're not present, people don't take any notice of us. Yeah, that's how I see it. So when I have people come, and I can use these via Skype, telephone. If people come one-on-one healings, I can do them in group. When I do group work, I use these templates to anchor people back in, to bring them home to themselves. So that's just one of the temples, and there is 13 of them. One of the other ones that I have is the multidimensional temple, and what that one does, like, we're made up of so many different aspects that it brings all of our aspects into here to be in the physical. So a lot of this is about really grounding and really being present in who we are.
And it is about being who we are, and trusting who we are. And as you said, well, I mean, as you said about asking up there, and of course it was like, guys, please, can you help us sort the technology out? And
Yeah,
that very much is a please help, because there's nothing I can do.
that's
But
right. Yeah.
the answers are within.
Yes.
If we trust ourselves, listening to intuition, listening to gut instinct, it's just listening to your heart. And that's what
Yeah.
it's about for all of us.
It is.
Yes, you by
And
all
it's
means.
about uncovering what we've held, what we've covered up in our hearts. Because, you know, boy, we've done a lot. We've covered up a lot. Mm.
Absolutely, and I'm so with you on the birth experience. In fact, several years ago, I remember writing a blog about birth experiences, and the fact that a child, the instant it is born, without it even being cleaned off or anything, should be placed on the mother's chest, so that its
Yeah.
head was right next to its mother's heart, so that it literally went back to being, because the child's going to have heard the mother's heart for that 9 months. And
Yeah.
so, and that's where it should be
Mm.
immediately after its birth, so that it's
Yeah.
it's that connection. It's that, oh good, I'm not being ripped away from what I've known. I know we all have to learn to slowly
Oh,
separate
we
from,
need to
but
separate and to,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Mm. So
absolutely.
this temple actually helps to recreate that birth. Mm. It's a very annoying light. It helps to recreate the birth so that we can feel safe. Yes, so as I said, this has 13 different templates, temples, starlight temples. And this one here is the Sincere Magician's Temple. So, yeah, so it's activating the magician in you. You know, we all have that ability to be the magician in our own life. And this helps that people to do that. It's like, as I'm talking about it, I'm actually feeling my hands are tingling, and you know, I can feel the pulsating in my body as it reminds me that I am the magician in my life as well. Mm. So there's in this. Sorry, Sarah. Sarah,
No,
what were you
I was
going to
going to
say?
say, because you're saying magician, but we all have that magic within us. We can.
Absolutely,
It's about,
magical magician.
yeah, it's about what we can create for ourselves, and we
Yes,
can have that magic. If you want to call it miracles, but we can have that magic.
absolutely. You know, can I just tell you a really brief story? Not about me, but one of the young women that came and did this course. Um, she had, and I didn't know at the time that she was having a lot of addiction problems. But she came and did the course, and through using the templates every week, she'd choose another one and work with it consistently. Within, I think it's not even 6 months, she has lost 11 kilos, but she's quite a big girl. All her addictions have gone. She has created this most amazing business, and she puts it down to doing the program, to actually coming, spending 2 days and learning the program. She was an extremely determined woman. Um, this has been her support.
But it goes back to that comment, finding what we can do to help ourselves. And at the end of the
Yes,
day, people like yourself with this, myself, so many of us out there, we have tools that we can offer you. But unless you are prepared to help yourself, there's nothing anyone can do for you. So, and it's finding those tools. And what I'm hearing here is that you're helping people to find themselves, reconnect with every aspect of themselves, heal their inner self. I do it with sound, with helping people to reconnect with their inner child. You're doing the same, and actually you use sound as well, and I do want to come on to that because it's
Yes.
sound and sacred geometry. And obviously being a sound nut myself, and Reiki, it's something obviously that resonates with me, and I use that word very deliberately, although I appreciate it can be classed as a bit of a pun in this respect. But
Yeah.
it is about finding self, connecting with the whole of self, and bringing the whole of self back to you, to bringing the you of today and connecting the whole of you, all those aspects that have got separated.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
okay. Is there anything, sorry folks, is there anything more you'd like to share on the sacred geometry side right at this moment?
Oh,
Or should we go into the sound and sacred geometry?
we could go into the sound. I will just say that I could talk about sacred geometry for, all day. It would be, it would be okay. And there'd be something new I could share. But for me, sound and sacred geometry are actually the building blocks of the universe. In the beginning was the word, and the sacred geometry holds, like the flower of life, holds all of life within it. So the two combined just create the most exceptional healing for people. But as you're saying, I can tell you and I can give you heaps, but unless someone's actually prepared to do the work themselves, energy lasts as long as energy lasts. It's very nice. Let's waffle around in the energy, but it doesn't sustain you forever. It is doing the inner child work and the inner baby. I've been working with my inner baby and my inner teenager, are the two that I've been working with in the last few weeks, because they sometimes lack attention, especially at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is a matter of remembering it's layers of the onion, but it's also
Yeah.
allowing those layers of the onion to come off in their right order. And you may think, right, I've got to start with the tiny baby and I've got to come up each year at a time. It doesn't
No.
work like that. You could suddenly find you're working on something that happened yesterday, but that actually works with something that happened in the past. You think something happened yesterday, but you've actually got to go way back. It changes, and you've just got to
Yeah.
accept the guidance of higher self, your heart, whatever you want to call it. If there's something that's going on, trust. Where does
Yeah.
that work need to start? And you may have a priority, but your higher self, your body, will have a priority in a totally different order. But that
Absolutely.
priority actually can help resolve what you think is your priority. So it's
Yeah.
trusting that everything happens in the right order.
Yeah, it sure does.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'd like to tell you just a tiny bit about how I came to sound, because sound has been one of my biggest challenges. So sometimes your gifting is your biggest challenge. I was always told how flat I was. I had a husband who had perfect pitch, like he could play his guitar. He sang like Eric Clapton. He was extraordinarily gifted, and his thing to me was, "Be quiet, you're flat, go away." So I really learnt to shut my throat chakra down. Then, I did a lot of workshops when we were using the crystal bowls, and one day I started uncovering the fact that I had been Aboriginal many, many times, and finding that connection between my voice and my Aboriginal ancestry was like a really, really big key for me. And the first time I was doing some healing work on someone in a workshop and the sound just came out, I had absolutely no idea, you know, because I was really quiet. I know you probably couldn't believe that now, but I kept very quiet, especially if we needed to sing. It's like I'd mouth the words just in case somebody noticed how out of tune I was. So I do actually have quite a deep voice, but it really, I hear people after I use the language and the sound that I use in combination with the crystal bowl tell me what that sound does for them. In fact, I had somebody turn up to a sound evening who was studying ancient languages, and she goes, do you know that some of the language that you're using is Sanskrit and ancient Hebrew? And well, of course, I had no idea because, you know, that's definitely not my expertise. Yes, so that was a bit of a surprise, really. And I can feel when my ancestors work through me, whether they're Aboriginal or Maori, or whether they come from my Jewish heritage or from my English heritage. I can feel my way around what ancestors are working with me. So that's always, yeah. And it works with, so the people that gather, I tune into their oversoul, and that's the sound that comes through and works with them. And in personal one-on-one sessions, it's actually the sound that your soul requires that comes through.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I love the one-on-ones because the energies of that are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I actually love the group work because it's just like the collective is just amazing too. Yeah. I do. I love running retreats and running weekend workshops and the programs that I do because it feels like I can help more people and each person helps each other as well. I'm just there, and everybody is part of it. I gather them. No, I do a little more than that. But, yeah.
Absolutely. And sound baths can be absolutely amazing. But when you're getting people to work on each other, and in small groups, it's so powerful.
Beautiful, yeah, indeed. Yep.
So how do you combine the sound with the sacred geometry, do you then?
Yes, I do. Because I believe that everything that I have in my toolkit kit can come at any time that it likes. And I can use them all together or one at a time, whatever that is. Because I also believe it's the individual that holds the space for whatever is in their toolkit.
Yeah.
So when I teach people sacred geometry, I feel the most important part of the program is what they bring, to the program. And every person that I've taught uses it differently to me. They use the same basic things, like there's a sound key and there's a that activates the temple, and there's certain protocols, but they bring themselves, and that is just really important.
Oh, absolutely. It has to be about the individuals, and as practitioners, healers, whatever terminology you want to use, we're facilitators. We offer tools to empower an individual's own self-healing. So it is about if people aren't present themselves, then they're not going to get masses out of it. Whereas if they bring in their true, right, this is for me, this is about me, I'm going to do what is required for me. And when people are
Yeah.
they're allowed to think about themselves, to do what's right for them,
Yeah.
and to step into their own power, because that's what everyone here is about. It's stepping into
Yeah.
your own power.
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't know how we're doing for time. Sorry, I got
We've
my glasses.
we've got about 14 minutes left. So obviously, what
Okay.
I'd love you to do is, because you were going to do a demonstration for us. So I'd love, please.
Yeah. So I would really like to activate the homecoming temple, and so maybe about 5 minutes, and we'll activate that, and I'll do some sound and see what sound also wants to come. Would that work?
Yeah, brilliant.
Okay. So if anybody's watching, might be really good just to close your eyes. To right jelly. Bima Shanti Ramoko Vyakuma. She Laka Hovra Neon Neon. Bima Shanti Ramoko Vyakuma. She Laka Hovra Neon Neon. Bima Shanti Ramoko Vyakuma. She Laka Hovra Neon Neon. Te a koe na ke iti ti ti a po chikai ata. Iti ti. Iti ti. Uti a kaiata. Uti ti ti a pa. Ini ti ki o tu i te ata. Ini ki a koi ata. Ini ni ki chikai ata. Maya iata ititi iti ayata iti apoya chakayata iata iti apoyata iki ini apoyaka iti ato. And just allowing your breath to deepen. Kaya na ichika e ata. Iti ya koya ka maya iti ata. Iti atai. Vimashanti Ramoko Biakuma Shilaka Hura Neonium. Just breathing deeply back into your belly. Vimashanti Ramoko Biakuma Shilaka Hura Neonium. Vimashanti Ramoko Biakuma Shilaka Hura Neonium. And just gently coming back, feeling yourself on your chair, feeling your breath in your body. Mm. Mm. Mm.
Wow. Unfortunately, it wasn't as clear as it could have been, but as the conversation we had at the beginning was, it's not about what you hear, it's about what you feel. And so, folks,
Yeah.
if you have allowed yourself to experience that, can I suggest, with what I've just said, it's not about what you hear, it's about what you feel. If you're watching, you can do this on the YouTube video. Rewind, go back to the beginning of that, and just trust. It is not about what you're hearing, it is about what you're feeling. Get your mind out of the way and let your body feel those energies. It is really important to do that. And what I suddenly became aware, I put my hands like that in my lap, and the whole time my thumbs were just gently going around. Now, I don't know why, whether it was winding. In fact, in that direction, I'd have said it was winding something rather than unwinding something. But it was really strange, and I wasn't. I suddenly became aware that that's what my thumbs were doing, and I wasn't sure I was doing it. And that, so if you've got any insight into why that might have happened, but it was obviously doing something.
Well, that is really interesting, because I said it's my ancestors that worked through me, and my nan was always twiddling her thumbs. She would, not that she very often sat around, but she'd go, oh, I'm just sitting around twiddling my thumbs, you know, and that was, to her, was,
Yeah.
was twiddling her thumbs. Yeah, exactly that. So that's very, very interesting, and I have noticed over the last few weeks, my fingers have been going around in circles too. And I'll go, oh, hello, man, you must be coming to say hello. Maybe, yeah.
I must admit, well, obviously, sort of, yes, very much the term came to me, twiddling my thumbs. But I thought, this is, if it's the one thing I felt, not my head,
Yep.
but a feeling, that had nothing to do with twiddling thumbs. There was an
Right.
energy about it. Now, maybe the energy was your nan letting you know she was there. Maybe for whatever reason. Maybe
Yep.
she's one of your guides because of her past lives, whatever. Who knows? But
Who knows? If we're all one, well, yeah.
yeah, and maybe it was somebody letting me know they're there. I don't know. So, folks, when you experience that, allow the feelings, but also allow an awareness of what's going on either within your body or, in my case, fractionally outside it.
Yeah.
Because, and you don't necessarily have to know the meaning. Just trust that whatever's happening is meant to be. But I felt that was a winding up
Right.
almost, rather than a winding down.
Okay. I wonder what you were winding up. Any?
Who
No.
knows?
Be interesting to explore that further. Mm.
Absolutely. But folks, if you've got anything like that that's happened, then do let Bev know. Now, Bev,
Yeah.
I mean, we're coming close to the end,
Mm.
and I'm sure that there's more that you'd love to share. But have you? Sorry, folks. Have you got anything that you'd like to share that we haven't touched on as yet?
Oh, gosh. Well, as it's in my bio, as it says, like I have a whole slew of programs that I run. And the one I'm starting in May is for couples. So I'm gathering 5 couples to come in for 6 months, so that they can, like we live in a society where we've become so separated, and it's so easy to go out and get a divorce, and it's like split up the family finances, the children, but actually if people could come in and really see what's playing out underneath what they think. I've had 3 couples over the last 2 years who have come, one split apart, came back together, another lot split apart, and now they're redating, and another couple just found a much more deepening of their love. So it's like really being able to support couples to come together and to with more of a heart connection. We've lost the fact that we are divine feminine and divine masculine, and we both have a role. And it's really important that the women, really, we didn't need to, but we've pushed our men a long way away. We've become so independent. And now I feel like it's time that we both came back together so that we can create a world that we want to live in, and a place where we have more community and more family and more of a village. Yeah.
It is about allowing the feminine and the masculine. It is about being that balance. It isn't a matter of women becoming more masculine and men becoming more feminine. It is about allowing the feminine and the masculine within each of us to be in the perfect balance that it needs to be. And women felt they became so dominated that they've balked against it, and men were very much in that position. I have to be the breadwinner. It's about us working together. It's about living together. It's about that perfect balance of both. The human race cannot survive without the male and the female, the female and the male.
Yeah. I feel like the men have been really pushed to the side, because us women have become very strong. I'm not saying that's good, bad, or indifferent, but we have become very strong. And so this is my little symbol over here that I have that represents the masculine and the feminine, and us taking up that place of connection in the heart.
Yeah,
it's like a yeah. So I guess that's, I could talk on a whole different range of subjects, for weeks. But I know it's time for us to
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Right. Obviously, before we leave, folks, we are going to leave you with how to connect with Bev. Her Facebook pages are Shekina Centre of Change, and there's also Sacred Geometry New Zealand, which is there is a website, but it's in the process, folks. So that's not there at the moment. So Facebook's which email address is it best to use? Is the Gmail one okay?
No, if they use bev at shekina.co.nz.
Okay. So it's bev at
shekina.co.nz.
.co.nz. So I've just put that up. So those people who are watching live, those people who watch the replay, hopefully will see that. I will make sure I put that information underneath the YouTube video so that you can find that there, folks. Do connect with Bev, find out what she's doing. If there's anything that you're interested in that she's doing, connect with her. This is what this is all about. It's helping everybody to find out what's available out there, what resonates with you. It sounds fascinating. It really does. So please do check those out. And when we have got a working website, Bev, let me know, and we'll make sure that goes underneath as well.
Yes, these things take time. And thank you so very much for all the work you're doing to get this out into the world. Thank you. It's a beautiful gift that you give.
I'm loving it. I'm learning so much from it myself. And that's just it, folks. It doesn't matter where down your path you are, your journey, you can always learn more. Even if you learn enough to think, that's really interesting, but I don't want to go there, or that's not for me at this moment, or whoa, I hadn't even realized it existed. I want more of this. It's what it's all about. And knowing that, folks, if this is the first of the programs you watch, go to our giftofhealingtv.com website and you can find all our previous programs. And you can see what's there, what works for you, meditations, exercises, all sorts. Bev, it has been a huge, huge pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure. And next week, we're actually on Monday, connecting with dragons. And I guess,
cool.
well, I've got the joy of I connect with dragons. I work with dragons, but it's not just me. I'm also
Sacred Geometry program also connects deeply with dragons.
Absolutely. I love the dragon energy. Well, that's really interesting. I'm being joined by Sheila Kennedy next week because Sheila and I have worked with some dragons together. And some dragon energy together. So we're going to be sharing some of our stories. We're open to questions. So please join us next week for connecting with dragons. And I hope you'll join us. Bev, thank you so much for joining us this week. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I'm sure you and I will connect again. So thank you, folks. Have a good day, a good evening, wherever you may be. Love, peace, and light to you all. Namaste.